Have you seen ads made by this company recently? If you watch gaming content on the platform, specifically mobile or casual gaming, you've likely come across these banners or short video ads. Tacky mobile game adverts come and go constantly, but ads for games made by one specific company might be something you see every day without even realizing it. Look around the screen, you might have even gotten one on this video. G123 is a Japanese mobile gaming website that boasts having games set in some of the most popular anime series. A lot of the ads you see by them will generally have some raunchy art to pique your interest, but like the majority of mobile game ads, they almost never show a frame of gameplay footage, since many people will immediately back out when they see it. But what happens if you actually click on those ads? My name is Psyche, and today, among the sea of low-effort cash grabs, I want to cover the gacha games that's featured on G123's site, explain what I believe to be their predatory business strategy, if those games are any good, and why, in my opinion, G123 is a textbook definition of what a diabolically greedy gacha company looks like. So, the main selling point of the games here is that they're all flash games with no download required, does not require account registration, and you can download their app to easily switch between the games on the go. Of course, everyone knows that free games tend to be the most expensive, and once you see the actual gameplay content, you'll soon realize that there's probably a reason for the games to be this accessible. G123 is a Japanese company, but their site also offers languages for many other countries, the Americas included, which explains why you'll see their ads every now and then. Their site boasts containing games set in some popular anime series, and I historically have a bias against IP-based gacha games because it's meant to use the emotional connections fans have with the series to sell its products to you. Getting all these licenses must not have been cheap, but as we'll see in a bit, while the bulk of the budget was spent on getting the licenses to use the different anime properties, the remaining morsel of budget was actually spent on developing the game. Let's descend into madness with the first title. The first one I chose was Goblin Slayer Endless Hunting. In case you don't know, Goblin Slayer is a light novel series that involves having a masked knight slaying goblins. That's basically the whole premise. The only bit of mainstream fame it got was when the first episode of the anime aired in 2018, and there was an actual rape scene, except this is an anime for general television. From someone that actually watched the first season back when I was into anime, it's otherwise a fairly average series that relies on shock factor and fan service. But hey, maybe the light novel is better. Anyways, opening the game, you get a low bitrate cutscene giving you a rundown of the game world. Then you're just immediately thrust into the idle gameplay. Not before a pop-up ad though. I don't know about you, but this doesn't look like a Goblin Slayer to me. You'll notice a similarity with the games here, but most of them are idle games where you click buttons and boost stats. The main lobby is you auto-attacking random enemies, and you can head into a farming stage or auto-battle for more rewards. Your avatar will do everything, like walking to the enemy locations, picking up the loot drops, and exiting the level once it's done. As you'll soon see with a lot of the games here, the overall quality of them are questionable, you could say. The same generic upbeat music, the same voice lines over and over again, cluttered UI where basically every action you do leads to the cash shop. The game will guide you towards the tasks you should be doing next, like auto-battle the next stage, farming for a certain material once, recycle gear, and so on. Once you get enough into the game, you can employ other adventurers to help you in the party. There are a lot of ways to beef up your units. A lot of them will be shown to you as in-game tutorials, except the majority of those ways are either time-gated or can be expedited by paying. You want to sweep the stage? You need to spend the premium crystals for that. You want to use your resources to auto-level your character? You need to increase your VIP level for that. Want to recycle all your useless gear in one go? Same thing, need to be a VIP, so get used to clicking away recycling gear one menu at a time because the game intentionally introduced a problem that you had to pay to get rid of. It's a classic mobile game trope to clutter your screen with menus, but even ignoring that, the game clearly has not had a thorough quality check. The background art is just a static image, because when your avatar walks into an archway, they just go right on top of it. You basically just jump straight into the action. There's no story mode in this game as far as I can tell. And aside from the 2 voice lines each character has, that's probably taken straight from the anime, there's no other voice acting, not from the NPCs or any narrators. A trend you'll notice is that these games will have PvP, so you get a sense of pride and accomplishment from beating other players when you wail. You kinda just go up to another player while they're slaying goblins, which is kinda counterintuitive if you ask me. Like, shouldn't you be fighting them together? But I guess they didn't want players playing as goblins. It was genuinely impressive how many different beginner and consistent cash deals the game threw at you, even when you're nearly as 10 minutes into the game. From VIP loyalty programs, to bonuses when you top up a certain amount of times, to multiplying the rewards you get in-game if you spend premium currency. Though I gotta say, the game does make a convincing argument sometimes. An opportunity of a lifetime is not an easy thing to come by. I'm not sure what drove me to play this game for more than an hour, but I think I just wanted to see if the cash deal pop-ups would eventually fill up the entire screen for maximum funny. All in all, the only hunting happening around here is the endless hunt for your wallet. This should give you some perspective of the stuff we're dealing with here. So on to the next entry. Queen's Blade Limit Break is based on the anime series of the same name. Admittedly, I have not watched it, but judging from the ratings, it's a fairly mid show with a lot of fan service. Going into the main menu, your beautiful warriors, as the game calls them, are busy duking it out, and just like endless hunting, it's also an auto-battler. You'll assemble a team on a grid and have them do turn-based combat. You can't control anything though. They will take turns attacking, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be some degree of team-building aspects when you really get into it. You do the main campaign to increase the yield for your passive resource generation, and perform upgrades in a similar vein like in the Goblin Slayer game. You use 2 currencies for leveling, then a third one for limit breaking past a certain breakpoint. Going into the homepage is where the floodgates open. I was trying to click on where the tutorial was guiding me, and the 2 banners with limited deals were so intrusive that before I realized that you can collapse this tab, I had trouble clicking on the menu button behind it. There's everyone's favorite red exclamation marks on every button. This one's so important that there's 2 of them. You'll definitely start noticing the flash sales thrown at you, from daily logins to battle passes to VIP loyalty programs. However, we can't forget about the gacha system. From what I understand, there's actually 2 of them, and while I don't fully get the rules, this game seems to rely on you pulling dupes to make certain units stronger. So here's the thing I notice about gacha games, particularly in how they're marketed. I feel like I'm calling out every gacha gamer ever, but people that play these games like to pull on the gacha. Even extending outside G123, a way that a lot of gacha games market themselves is that you get a lot of pulls when you start playing. Many of these games understand that the game itself might be extremely lacking in quality, but front-loading newcomers with pulls is a good enough incentive for them to stick around. It's true that you do get a lot of pulls, it's just that its actual upgrade system will literally require you to pull more characters to make it further into the game. The weirdest thing I saw in the game was where you can negotiate the pricing of some of the packs. Actually, these requests are literally what the world chat consists of. There's almost no other messages. I tried clicking on the other players' names, and the game actually said that it discounted the prices for them. From the screen, you can see that players are getting away with buying these packs for as little as 15 cents. This plays on fear of missing out that maybe you'll be that one lucky soul the next time, just that you have to wait a little bit longer. It's like those games that alert you when one of your friends just pulled a rare character. It's a case in psychology called availability heuristic that you'll start making mental shortcuts to believe certain events are more likely to happen even though it has no impact on you. It's kind of like believing that you have a higher chance of winning the lottery when you see someone else wins it. Generally, a lot of the mainstream gacha games don't pull this kind of stuff because it's just too much of a mobile game trick. But anyways, aside from some generic looking designs and listening to the same voice lines, you can probably tell that this one is also a low effort money sink to get those either attached to the franchise or unsuspecting tourists to hook them in. With the next entry, I did try out something a little different. Game of Thrones Winter is Coming. You'd think that a show like this would be published by a Western developer, but nope. Supposedly, it's made from a company from Singapore, and G123 happens to host it on the site. It's advertised as the series' first browser game. I'm not too sure how big Game of Thrones is in terms of an Eastern fanbase, but it is also available on the Japanese commerce site DMM. Also, this game is actually on Steam, except, it's flooded with fake reviews. They all have exactly 1.9 hours of playtime and throw complete gibberish to get around the bot censors. The weird part is that if you're gonna do that anyways, why even balance the ratings to mixed? You could have just flooded it with positive ones. In this game, you play as everyone's beloved Game of Thrones character, Chris. Shout out to Chris. You're guided by some lesser important characters on how to manage your base and prepare for winter. Okay, I have watched the show, it's just been a very long time, so I barely remember the names. You're promised that a powerful dragon will soon hatch and come to your aid. But first, you'll need to complete the first 5 chapters in the tutorial and wait 30 minutes. As an addictive hook, this was certainly something else. You're told that you'll get an insane power-up as long as you play the game for 30 minutes. This Baldy says that he will join your party but needs some time to arrive, and you can get him when you log in 7 hours later. Another hook to reinforce a second login on the next day. This game is a generic base builder with some extremely subpar graphics, but I guess that's to be expected with browser games. You have to construct and upgrade buildings to be more efficient to provide resources and maintain your troops. All of these processes take up real-life time, but as you guessed it, you can speed it up by buying these time skip tokens. I went ahead to play this game for around an hour, except I wanted to see just how powerful this dragon that was promised to me truly was. The game will give you a few freebies in upgrading your structures, but you eventually have to face those 1-hour timers, which force you to stagger out your logins in weird hourly intervals. Once you train your troops, you can do an auto battle mode where you command them into a skirmish. Every commander has their skill that works in a certain way that you can use. It's a real-time strategy gameplay loop, but just extremely simplified. Also, there's an auto mode with double speed, so you don't have to use any part of your brain. It's not a generic base building without player rating, because you can get raided by other players, with ways to prevent that with a truce period in the cash shop. This is quite common in these base builders since you want an incentive for the powerful whales to dominate the non-spenders. At around the same time, the dragon finally hatched, and it's not one that roars flames since it's just a whelp and you have to feed it over time. In this mode, you roll a raffle, aka a gacha for the dragon's passive skills. You can see it fly around when you're in the auto battle mode providing some support, but that's basically it. Looks like I won't be waiting around for Baldy to arrive. I think that's enough examples, but what makes G123's model particularly greedy? So to go over G123's general business plan here, I think based on the stuff I've seen so far, I've got a pretty good idea. However, this portion is based on my own opinions from my experience playing these games. If it's one thing I learned about the business of gaming, it's that sometimes marketing can be equally, if not more important than designing how the actual game is. So I recently turned down a sponsor for the game called Dragon Traveler, an idle gacha game that was released in early January. I was gonna go through with a short 1-minute integration, but ultimately decided against it since the game just looked extremely generic. And well, there's some strong signs it uses AI to assist in its artwork. I'm sure it's fine if you just play it, but this would be an example of a game that doesn't exactly stand out, but is still able to achieve some degree of success due to the amount of marketing it pushed. In all honesty, I probably still recommend Dragon Traveler over these games, but you can see that G123 is doing something very similar, just to a much larger degree. Their strategy is quite simple: buy up the rights to use a lot of popular IPs in anime and television. Then make simple browser-based games with many predatory practices to hunt for those elusive whales to fund the company and further ventures. Undoubtedly, buying up all these IP licenses cost them a pretty penny, except if you look at it, if you wanted to get into a mobile game that featured your favorite anime series, chances are G123 is the only place you can get it. I don't know any other mobile game versions of Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid or Goblin Slayer. The average person probably knows that mobile games can be a money sink, except this tactic is clearly working. The lack of downloads where verification needed also plays to their advantage. Generally, if you're a seller of online goods, or just goods in general, you want to have fewer checks in place when a customer buys something, like asking them to put in their address or email for further verification. Any additional steps or moment of hesitation a customer would have to take is another opportunity for them to second-guess their choice to back out of the purchase. For these low-effort money sinks, it's understandable that they want to have as few barriers as they can to immediately get someone interacting with the game and its systems. You can literally click on the ad and the game will instantly start. The next time you're interested in an IP-based gacha game because you have an emotional attachment to the franchise, the developer sometimes has a clear incentive to use that attachment as a means to monetize. So, tread carefully. G123's strategy is effective to a vicious level. In 2024, according to their blog post, they've managed to amass over 500 million users. It's not even an argument that these games are extremely low effort with many systems to confuse and incentivize spending. It personifies why mobile gaming generally gets a bad rep, and other gacha games, even when their quality greatly exceeds the norm, will always get bad-mouthed from people outside the genre. It's the reason that no matter how high quality a gacha game gets, it will be lumped with the likes of games like these. Hopefully, you've learned that as much drama as the mainstream gacha games drum up in the perpetual tribalistic cultural war, there's always a hidden side of the genre that you'll hopefully never uncover. Anyways, thank you for joining me today, and let me know just how often you see those ads. If you want to see more content related to gacha games, subscribe to the channel. You can support for what I do for as little as $2 a month on Patreon. As always, be sure to spend moderately, and have fun out there.